Hello. All right. I am barely in my chair in time for this today. I'm just finishing getting myself sort of situated here, but it looks like we already have quite a few folks in the chat here. So let me say some hellos on this happy Sunday, I hope, for everyone. Let's see, we have Ellen here. Hi, Bastet, Corvin, Becca. Hi, Becca. It's nice to see you in here. It's nice to see all of you. I don't pick and choose, so I say, oh, it's so nice to see you. But we're just going to roll with it. Lucian made it. Hello. Beth's here. Maharet, Jessie, Kimberly, Crohn's Intuition, Emily. Let's see. I said hi to those people. Jamie Kelly's here. Brant Moo maybe watching while eating lunch. Let's see who else do I have here. I think I said hi to Marquette, Michelle, Kiana. Keeping scrolling. Oh, Jamie Marshall Lawson, my future son-in-law. Hello. Aquarius Owl. Hi, Debbie. Let's see. We have, who else is in here? Okay, there's Simon. Up, Simon. Sandra's here. Jilly's here. How's your stir fry coming along, Jilly? I'm really hungry thinking about it. Shane's here. Hello, my darling son, handsome son. Is darling too something? The Emperor's Oracle is here. Hello. Let's see. If I missed anyone, I'm so sorry. I try really, really hard not to. Mendy's here. Hi, Mendy. Gracia's here. Hi. Robin's here. Hi. Okay, so if I missed anyone, I'm sorry. Feel free to wave at me. Oh, wait. Did Science to Soul Jen make it in here? Did she sneak in? I saw somebody wave at her. No notification, but it's on your Outlook calendar. Essence. Oh, hi, Aneem. I'm sorry. I did miss you. And then Wiccan's here. I missed a whole bunch of people. Jackie, Rose. There's Jen. Okay, there I see her. Okay. All right, everyone. So last week we had, hi, Elizabeth. We had a doozy of a card, did we not? With our 9 of Swords. What did you all think of that? Oh, Kiana's already hoping for the next card, the 2 of Wands or the High Priestess. So, did you make it through the week? Did it help? Did any of the advice that we took help you through the week? I have to say it really helped me a lot. So, anybody who participated last week, thank you. Sometimes facing the more challenging cards, as I like to call them, I feel like it's just better when you have people to help you through it, right? Purple Wave, hello, coming in. Sorry if I missed anybody else. I hope I didn't. Nightmares, fun. Did anybody have nightmares? Did anybody get rid of nightmares? I had some dreams. I was dreaming about the 5-cent tarot last night, like out of the clear blue sky. I haven't even used that one in a while. I don't know. It came up a couple weeks ago. I don't know why I was dreaming about that particular card. Last week was a nightmare, so it fits, says Jamie. Corvin says, even worse than last week. Oh, no. Well, we need a new card. Let's set you on a new path, shall we? Corvin had really bad nightmares. Let's see if we can switch directions here. Elizabeth got 10 of Swords for the week, so thanks to that 9 of Swords card. Yay. You know what I like to say. The tarot gives us what we need, not what we want. And boy, have I got smacked in the face a few times with that one. Mendy's pulled the Hermit card 4 times this week. Have you been extra hermity this week? Life is a damn nightmare. Pop an Ambien and have a coffee in the morning. That's one way to deal. Hi, Conrad. It's really nice to see you here. I'm excited to get your deck. By the way, I ordered the fancy version with the gilding. All right, you guys. So for anybody who's new here today, I think we have a lot of repeats, but for anybody who's new, we always like to start off play date by gathering a list of 5 questions that we'll use our card of the week to answer as we kind of progress throughout the course of the chat here. Gracia says, my father-in-law is in the hospital, so we all had trouble with anxiety this week. I'm really sorry to hear that. So I am sending lots of love to your family. Hi, Kathy. It's nice to see you. I think I said hi to Wiccan222, but just in case I didn't, hello. So, are you guys prepared for questions that you want to answer this week with our card? Let's see. Let's make sure I have a pen. Oh, I do have a pen. Like I said, barely, barely prepared today. As always, if you can put your questions in all caps, like Elle has just demonstrated in the chat, then that helps me not to miss them. So I appreciate that because I love getting different people able to participate. So hit that caps lock key for a minute. So Elle says, what needs to be acknowledged, work through, and release this week? Ooh, that's a big one and a good one. Okay, so from Elle, what needs, oh, and I have brand new ink in my pen. That makes me so happy. What needs to be acknowledged, worked through, and released this week? Okay, got that one. Thank you, Elle. All right, and then it looks like I have another one here, just making sure. Emily says, how can we be more in the present and more playful this week to enjoy what is? Oh, I like that. Emily, how can we be more present and more playful this week to enjoy what is? This is one of the things that I always find really fascinating, is we get a wide variety of questions, and somehow that one card always manages to answer all of them. Sometimes with help from the crowd, you know, but to enjoy, always with help from the crowd. Let me rephrase that. And to enjoy what is. Sorry, I sometimes have to stop talking when I stop like mid-question writing. Let's see. I'm looking. Okay, we've got Jamie. What can we look to in order to find our place, especially, especially if a little lost? Okay, Jamie. For those who are feeling a little lost, what can we look to in order to find our place? So I read out loud again so you know I'm just not ignoring you for no good reason, especially, and to make sure I get the question right, if a little lost. I feel like I want to give you a hug just for the fact that you asked that question. Brant says, how can we be more mindful in our tarot practice this week? Love that. How can we be more mindful in our tarot practice this week? My writing is a little less atrocious than usual, which is also why I'm going slowly, apparently. So, but talks amongst yourselves. All right, and I think we had, oh, hi, Jennifer. I'm glad you made it. All right. Do I have one? I need one more question. Oh, there it is from Linda. Oh, no, wait. Purple Wave Beater. Oh, okay. How best to process what's happening at the moment? Hi, Linda. Can you, if you come back next week, will you please bring that question back? Because I really love it. But I'm going to, since this one came in first for me, Purple Wave. How best to process what's happening? So how can we best process? How can we best process what's happening in the moment? And what's happening can be different for everybody, right? So, you know, we can talk about what's happening in the world, or you can kind of look at it from a personal perspective and what's happening in your life. So what's happening at the moment. Did I miss anything really fun in the chat? Hi, Emmy. Nice to see you. Patrice is here. If I didn't say hi to Patrice, I'm just kind of looking here at the bottom of the, yeah, oh, Jackie, I can't believe you were up for the whole thing. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to get ready to shuffle here. If I missed anything while I was writing down questions, feel free to pop it in all caps or tag me at Jen's Balanced Tarot. Sometimes it gets a little funky with the apostrophe, but I try to keep an eye out anyway. All right, our deck shrinks every week. Let me put that down there, or maybe over there. I don't know why I always feel like I need to put things on the floor. All right, moving beyond the Nine of Swords into what we need to hear this week. All right, with our questions. So from Elle, we have what needs to be acknowledged, worked through and released this week. From Emily, How can we be more present and more playful this week to enjoy what is? From Jamie, what can we look to in order to find our place, especially if we're feeling a little lost? Brant, how can we be more mindful in our tarot practice this week? And then from Purple Wave, we have, how can we best process what's happening at the moment? All right, and we'll use my randomly drawn, again, for those of you who might be new, before a play date, I use a random name generator to draw, randomly select 5 decks from my collection. And so we use those to kind of look at different versions of the card that we pull for the week, and also to help us answer our questions. So we get a little bit of a different take on each card as we move through the questions. And I kind of stack up the cards in kind of the order that I want to do them, and then that's just kind of how it goes with the questions. So we're all collectively contributing our energy to how this plays out every week. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. Oh, I peeked. Don't panic, but tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're thinking about this particular card this week. Jesse, no. Again, we had to get it sometime, right? Bastet, dun dun dun. I'm in a great mood today. This is not me. This is not me. Don't blame me. Nope, no reshuffling. That's against the tarot rules. Corvin says that looks how my back feels right now. Oh, ouch. Same as last week. No, this is the 9. This is the 10. We're in a different place now, aren't we? This might hurt, says Robin. Psychically yours, hello. From 9 to 10, let's get this shit over. That's exactly what I'm thinking, Patrice. Like, let's just get on the other side of this thing, because you know what? Then we don't have to face this card again throughout the rest of Playdate. Kiana's got some hearts. LOMG. We have lots of thoughts here. 10 of Swords. This could be a good thing, says Emmy. Right? Remember, as we progress through Playdate, Jen, FFS, I know what that means. Well, crap, says Jamie. It wouldn't be fun if it was easy, right? I mean, we come here for the challenge. We did not have this before, Jilly. I promise. I would make sure this sucker didn't go back in the deck. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we actually have, Jamie says, I'm actually happy it was this card. First time having sequential numbers, right? That's a good observation, Gracia, because I think that's true. Corvin says, 10 of Swords, what will happen to people who break quarantine too soon? Beth says, there's nowhere to go after this but up, right? That's good news. We've completed something, says Kathy. Nowhere to go but up, says Donna. Essence has Neem has a list, as do I. Sandra, I can't believe it. I'm a little bit stunned by this card right now, because I feel like this is definitely not any kind of energy that I was putting into this deck. But as the course of Playdate plays out, I'm sure I will see I was quite wrong. Emily says, I actually think this must be comforting, because also it's never as bad as we think it is. And we have to remember, right, the swords are often about what's in our minds. So are we making things worse? Do things feel worse like this because of what we're thinking, in however we're applying the context of this card, right? So a lot of times it isn't as bad as we think. Shane says, guilty. That's my card. Shane manifested it. Look at him. So Psychically Yours says this helps you in the long run. Kiana, run. Okay, so Kiana's bringing our meanings to us. Run, death of the ego, crisis, the lowest point, backstabbed, hitting rock bottom, endings. Mendy says maybe it's saying we all need acupuncture. I've never tried it, but I really would like to. Jesse says, I guess the 10 of Swords lets us put the 9 to bed, right? Emily says the drama and the anxiety playing out, an end to suffering, says Beth, right? So Jackie says feeling life is against you. Stabbed in the back, said Robin. I think I don't know if I said that earlier. Oh, Psychically Yours said I see it as seeing someone's true colors, which can be hard but helpful, right? Gracia says, I hope it means that the troubling things are over. The cycle is ending. Yes. Okay, I kind of scrolled up, so I'm working backwards to the chat here, so let me come down. Simon says, it's a turning point. Woe is me, says D9. Hi, D. Martyrdom, says Jackie. Feeling depressed, says Purple Wave. This would be a great business card for an acupuncturist. Yes, yes, to Robin. Enlightenment, says Jackie. So what are some other kind of general meanings that you have other than like the initial shock? Jilly says, 10 of Swords. Oh, great. Time to make the noodles. She is off to make her stir fry now. Becca says, I don't want this to play out this week, right? But let's talk about what that means, right? So why does that initially, what is it that we're fearful of? When we see this card, why are we afraid? Essence. Let's see. Yes. Imagine being stuck in the 9 of Swords. I'll take 10 of Swords for 100. Alex, thank you. Wrap it up, right? We don't want to sit here forever, right? Here it's kind of like recognizing that we have these anxious thoughts and the nightmares and all of that. And then here, maybe we're like, okay, to me, this lends a feeling of exhaustion. And this card has carried that feeling like, okay, enough. Like I just can't take anymore. And what I find myself doing when I feel that way is like, okay, I picture this person here on the ground who's not, I don't think there's too much blood in this particular version, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But it's like I picture this person kind of like, okay, I'm going to bring my feet up under me and my hands up under me, and I'm going to get up off this floor. All right, lots of thoughts coming in while I was on my little diatribe there. So let's see what you guys are saying here. Elizabeth, the situation has become as bad as it possibly can. This is rock bottom. Enough is enough. There's nowhere to go but up. Emily says it's definitely about acceptance of anxiety and realizing that we are empowered to change our perspectives. Simon says, might be feeling like life is against you, but don't play the victim. Get up and carry on. Exactly. Yes. All right, Jen's getting settled with her coffee. Bastet says, reflect on your thoughts and complete your lesson. Move on. Shane, it's time to face something. It can be hard, it can be jarring, but like we've all said, you will get back up, you will start new again and stronger. There's always a positive way to view all of the cards. Yes, Brant. That doesn't mean we want to be sugarcoating it, right? I think we should look at all aspects of this card as part of Playdate. I think that's important. But, I know some people think, okay, we're a little too quickly to gloss over the harder parts of some of the cards, even the ones that seem more positive, right? So that's what I love about doing this, is we'll really dive in and explore it. Psychically yours says, though he is hurt, a new horizon is dawning. Jackie, in the Tarot Bible, the man is laying on his back with the swords in his front. That feels more painful to me. Conrad says this is an amazing card. The right hand shows the blessing sign. The negative cycle is over. The darkest hour is before the dawn. The sun will rise. Yes. Jamie, it feels like someone who had been walking for a long, long time with those swords in their back and finally giving in and letting it play out. It's a really interesting observation. Al says a warning against sacrifice and destruction, encouragement for devotion and love. The totality of the swords, the mental talent, shows not a philosopher on his throne, but triumph over idols and models. Whoa. Hold on. I need more tea for this. I didn't have coffee this morning. I had tea. Mendy said, also keep in mind, swords are thoughts and words. Don't let anxiety and fear hold you down. It's all in your head. Purple Wave. I need a drink. What time is it there? Emily, realizing that you can take control of how you perceive reality. Meme says, I know I'm jumping ahead, but the 10 of Swords in Anna K is absolutely one of my favorite depictions. Oh, I have that one behind me. Maybe we'll do a bonus at the end. We'll see if we have time. Becca says, face it, deal with it, move on. Yes, like don't be afraid. It sucks, but Kathy, the 10th sword is the last mental hurdle to get through, and now we can move forward. Yes, yes, yes. Jilly says, yes, Conrad, and the sun is coming up. Jesse's weaning off coffee and going for tea. Kiana's bringing our numerology for us. So the numerology of the 10s, culminations, endings, but also beginnings, completion, cycles, karma, taking responsibility, excess, transitions, renewal, the need to go beyond. Yes. Wendy says energy depleted, but no other choice but rest, but things will improve as the sky is getting lighter. Emily says, I love turning it upside down and the swords could just slip away, which we will do at the end. Absolutely. We'll let those swords slip away. Ella's noticing here on the red cloth, the flow of blood, generation to generation. Corvin says, yes, I think about the sarcastic modern witch, everything is fine card, ignoring the problem, right? We got to be careful about that. Fix that fence, says Purple Wave. Things can only get better, says Wendy. Oh, you have it in your bed, so if you don't. Well, you can post it in the Play Date Facebook group for us, Neem. Simon says the black sky, a contrast between black and yellow, is an indication of massive problems or tensions which are waiting to be addressed. Robin, the sun could be going down or coming up, hinting at it's always darkest before the dawn. Yeah, so now that we're starting to dive into some of the specific symbols, let me pull this up close so you can see it. Oh, with that black, you can really see the linen finish in these cards. And you can see my light. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. So we have that black sky, nothing much up there. Notice our landscape. You know, somebody was talking about earlier the position of his hand, right? So let me see what you guys have been saying here. Psychically yours, are you being stabbed in the back or are you doing the stabbing? Simon, if you ring this is sundown, it's about something being suppressed that needs to become apparent. Sunrise, a new day and a new beginning, right? And it's, you know, a lot of people will look at this as just the sun is rising, but it could be that the sun is going down, right? L, a new horizon. Our methods so far can take us no further. The fruits of knowledge consist in new decisions which open up new opportunities for love and awareness. View. If you view this as sundown. Got it, Simon. Strength reverse. Oh, hi, Amy. Releasing fear because the worst has happened. Even if it was what you built up in your mind, I always think, put a fork in me, I'm done. Yeah, that's, you know, it's funny because as, you know, I've had my own experiences with swordsy stuff recently, and it's just like, okay, I'm done. Literally the phrase that I remember thinking very recently was just like, enough is enough. Like, I'm ready. You know, it's like, I'll take my hits. I'll do what I need to do, but I'm looking to the other side of this thing. So Emmy wants to talk about the hand position. Thoughts on that? So Essence says, oh yes, I read that his fingers are doing the same sign as the Hierophant. Is he? We haven't done that card yet. Yeah, I like that fork analogy too. Purple Wave, taking notes. Yes. Wendy says, one sword is slightly leaning. I read the significance of that, but have forgotten what, or you read the significance of that, or forgotten what it was. So does it say anything? I know Simon likes to bring to us every week some snippets from the Ultimate Guide to the Rider-Waite Tarot. I just rely on him to do it. I don't even try to read them anymore. Does it say anything about that leaning sword there? Scribble. With his lying flat on the earth, says Leslie, it could be an invitation to ground ourselves this week. Oh, that's a great way of looking at that. Elle says he's holding his hand the same as the Hierophant and the Six of Pence. Jesse's like, yes, upward and onward. Yeah, so how many of you did not notice the hand before? I remember somebody else calling that out somewhere, but I don't know where I saw it. Hi, Alana. You're not that late, actually. We're just kind of diving into our card. Spoiler alert, 10 of Swords. So the nightmare came true. Or it's ending. We're bringing it to an end, Val. Hi, Val. And Kristen's as late as a rep. Oh, you guys must be all filing in from somewhere. Let's see, Simon, nailed down by the swords, only when our thoughts manifest themselves in flesh and blood do they escape from the realms of theory. There's nothing better than putting things to a practical test. Oh, I want to read that again. So only when our thoughts manifest themselves in flesh and blood do they escape from the realms of theory. There's nothing better than putting things to a practical test, right? So it's being willing to confront and engage those thoughts that are really weighing us down. Let's pick ourselves, let's look again at like we talked about this a little bit last week with the Nine of Swords too. I feel like it really makes sense to bring this in a little bit more than I usually do with the previous week's card because of this progression. But last week we talked a lot about, you know, opening our eyes, seeing what's true, seeing what's real versus all the scary, anxious thoughts in our head. And sometimes that can really help us deal and recognize that it's a lot easier to get up than we think, or we're being weighed down by more than what's actually happening. Okay, sorry. Thanks for setting me off there, Simon. Hi, Sean. Nice to see you. Let's see. Is this water beneath the yellow sky? You know, that's as I was holding this close up here. So it looks to me like we have some mountains to indicate obstacles, which I think we could expect to see in this card. There we go. And maybe some landscape. But is that water in front of the mountains? Is this an emotional time? Who here sees water versus land in this card? What do you think? As I ask that, I'll read some of the other comments. L, hand is the ill-used mental spiritual powers can be destructive, even as a divine blessing. This is a specifically potent card of blessing. Did I read that right, L? I feel like maybe I read that funny. What does the red symbolize? So the red of this, you know, whatever that is, like a cloak or a blanket, and then we have the red here too near his head. All right, let me keep. Oh my gosh, you guys are scrolling fast. Lots of thoughts on this card this week. Who's surprised? I'm not surprised. So Wiccan says, running from fears that catch up to you, turn around and face them so they don't get power you over there. Yeah, the red cape. Blue sea is the intellect affecting our emotions, says Emily. So we do see C there. Val says, Jen, I like that the nightmares come to an end. That's great. Yes, it always is, isn't it? See, Robin says, I just looked at this card from my Carol Hertzer Illuminate Tarot deck, and it looks like soul transference, transition out of the body. Interesting. I actually have that deck sitting right back here. I just recently got it. Emily says, also intellect, anxiety, clouding our intuition. Hello, Raven Morning Glory. Kiana says the astrological associations with this card. You're so great for always bringing these. Thank you so much. It's great for my notes later. Sun in Gemini brings a bright social influence that is at odds with the card's meaning and can only highlight the newfound happiness, or can only highlight newfound happiness after the influence of this card has passed. Ooh, I love that. Uh-oh, my chat just like seriously jumped. Okay, there we are. Oh, we did take a class about that, didn't we, Kimberly? That's right. Okay. Jen says it's scary how much this card is speaking to my week ahead. Is it helping though? If we face it, is it helping? Okay, so we see people are seeing mountains and then water. See, I feel like I do too. Bastet says there are just 9 swords on his body. The 10th is in front of his face. So maybe there's one thing we should really concentrate on. Oh, now that's really interesting, right? So kind of sitting, the sword is maybe, I wonder if I can fix that light. It's very glary. There we go. But that sword right here, right? It's almost like it's there in front of him, but not actually in him. Kristen says earth, water, and air are seen in this card. Do we get fire with the red? I know it's not legitimately fire, but maybe we could say that that brings in that extra element. Aquarius owl sees flowing blood. Land, sea, and sky, says Kristen when I asked about the landscape. Jackie says drop emotional baggage and say goodbye to the old you. Declutter your life. Kiana's continuing with the astrological for us. As the sun goes down on a life phase, the sun in Gemini offers a light at the end of the tunnel. Lucian says, I always find it so helpful to know the symbolism. It really helps bring the picture to life. Agree. Purple Wave says, I'm wondering if it's like fear, perhaps. Kiana thinks, Moon in Gemini now? Asked Val. Essence, I am so glad that you love Playdate. I love it too, obviously. Elle is noting here, the swords in the body, the seeds of the intellect are sprouting. No mud, no lotus, right? We've talked about that a lot, right? The lotus grows in the mud. Ends bring about beginnings. To have everything is nothing. To have nothing is everything. Whew. You guys are going deep on me. I'm reading these out loud, and I know I'm only absorbing some of it, so I cannot wait to watch this back. Donna asks, is that blood by his head because there's no blood near his body? You know, to me, it looks like fabric, but I wonder if it's intended to symbolize blood. Does it talk about that in the book, Simon, if you're available and around? Or does anybody kind of know there? Elle says, if each sword is a thought, it's like he's having the 7 of Cups struggle and just ends up throwing things and seeing what sticks because not all the swords are in his body. So it's just like, all right, throw it all at me. Let's see what sticks and how this is going to play out. Beth, along the lines of enough is enough. We can let go, surrender, accept, and come to terms with circumstances. Robin asks, who knows mudras? Does the hand reflect a particular yoga mudra, and what might that signify? Am I pronouncing that correctly, mudra? Aquarius L says it signifies lifeblood, so I'm assuming you're talking about the red here. No blood in the book. Thank you. Thank you for looking that up, Elizabeth. It's closed. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me as well. But it's almost like it's meant to be jarring and a little bit, kind of a trick of the eyes, right? Elle says red cloth stands for the flow of lifeblood in a person as well as from generation to generation. Oh, I think Simon did say that earlier as well, or somebody did. Sorry if I'm giving the wrong credit. All right. Any other thoughts on this version of the card? We've had a lot of, the harder aspects of it. We've also talked a lot about the hope, the endings, the completions. Yeah, just the red cloth, Simon. Neem says, quick, play dead. They won't get you. They think you're already dead. Movie thoughts, right? Just stay down for a minute. Wait till everybody leaves and then get up. I like that. All right, you guys about ready to move on to the next card, or do you have any additional thoughts? Well, I drink my very cold tea. Thanks for being my cheerleader as always, Jenna. I really appreciate that. The player possum card, says Robin. All right, so let's see what else we have today. All right, so once again, these are kind of randomly drawn cards. Let me move my 9 of swords. I don't want to accidentally pull that out instead of the 10. So today I'm going to start with, we're going to go really simple, and we're going to take a look at the Pig in Other Worlds, which as we know is a much more pippish deck, but there is some scenery, so I do leave it kind of in the rotation for Tarot Playdate because you just never know. You might see something that really captures your eye or a feeling of the card. So the beautiful Pig in Other Worlds backings for those who like to see. Here is our 10 of Swords in the Pig in Other Worlds. Focus. There you go. So what grabs your eye right away when you see this card? As soon as it will refocus. Hello, that's me. The thorns and the skull, right? So one of the things that I kind of noticed as I was looking at this, right? We have this real thorny vine here, but we also have signs of life, right? It's not just thorns. There is growth, says Jilly. Sean's like, beautiful deck. It is, right? Psychically yours notices the skull. If I didn't say that already, I might have. Jamie says, from death, there is life. The roots are exposed. Yes, I noticed that as well, right? So we actually see the roots. They're not necessarily just under the ground there. Jesse says, this reminds me of the, oh, I'm not going to pronounce this right, Ingwas rune, the symbol of staying true to oneself and reinventing oneself as is called for. Ooh, I like that. You thought I said the Pig in the Other Worlds? That would be a deck, wouldn't it? Kathy says the rebirth of thought. Oh, I like that too. L, a barrier, right? So I definitely see a barrier with these swords. Rather than being sort of an attack, it feels more like an obstacle. Gatekeeping, destruction makes way for new growth. Oh, I love that. Kimberly says things grow even with death. Shane says, I see that each pair of swords cross into forming the Roman numeral 10. They do. I never would have noticed that, but yes, they do. Let's see. Kiana says, oh, you guys are talking there. Simon says, leaving the old behind and moving on. Yes, yes, yes. Entanglement, yet new growth, says Jen. Yes. It makes me think of Hamlet because of the skull. I know the story. Emmy says the roots exposed, pain but growth, growing pains. Yes, I like that too. Donna says it looks like a lattice for the plants right here. So these plants can grow. Like I have like a lattice outside my home, and these vines just keep crawling up. They don't see it as an obstacle. They're just going to go right over it. In fact, it's sometimes helpful. Let's see. Lucian says pip decks I'm not that fluent in yet though. Well, and that's what I really like. I feel like the Pig in Other Worlds is such a great introduction into pip decks because we get some additional scenery other than just seeing the swords and having to kind of rely on the things that we know. Purple Wave says these thoughts can be manipulated. Cross, Raven, I was wondering the same thing about Lucian here, but all right, so our first question was, let's see if we can use this. I don't know that we have a ton to dive into here as far as the artwork. Oh my gosh. So our first question was from Elle. So how can we use this card and the 10 of Swords in general to answer what needs to be acknowledged, worked through, and released this week? Oh, all right. Bring on your brilliance, folks. What needs to be acknowledged, worked through, and released this week? Right away, my thought is all of those thoughts that have been perhaps hitting us, feeling, getting us entangled, getting us caught up, making us feel like we're down on the ground and exhausting those, acknowledging what those are, allowing ourselves to feel and release them. That's kind of my first thought, but I'd love to know what you all think. Neem sees scissors, cut the weeds, sever the ties, bury it, and move on. Kathy says the swords provide a support for thought. Robin says get yourself out of the weeds. Emily, this card has actually given me a new perspective on the Ten of Swords. I think life shit, the deepest of shadows and fears. Interesting. That's really interesting. Mendy says the tangle of worries need to be worked through and released. Brant asks, what do you see or what do you need to see behind the lattice? Like what's behind here that maybe we should be focusing on? Oh, that's interesting. Jilly says the shadow side of this card is the oh, poor, pitiful me. There's no blood. He's not dead. So get over yourself and move on. Like you could call this like the drama queen card, right? Like, oh, everything's terrible. And maybe it's not. I'm not saying that's always the case, but I could see there be a shadowy aspect of that. Yes, thank you for pointing that out, Jilly. Jamie says, acknowledge there are hard times. Work through how those times are making you feel and look where you normally don't to find the release. Oh, are you really new to tarot, Jamie? Donna, use those swords as a ladder to climb your way out. Hi, Lori. Late? There's no late here. We just show up when we can. Emily says, we really need to dig deep and discover what we are fearful of in an existential way. Wendy, the swords seem to make a barrier to moving forward. So to continue, you may need to change course. Now that's really interesting, right? So what we need to acknowledge and work through is maybe this is not the right path. It's time to take a different path and go a different way where we don't have those obstacles. Oh, good thinking. I hope that I didn't carry on that way the wrong direction. Maybe I took my own path there. Kristen says, I always saw 9 as the poor me card. Yeah, you could see that too. Let's see, Alana, I see the swords crossing each other as a protective barrier that has closed, symbolizing the end. Enough is enough, right? That phrase is ringing really loudly for me with this card this week. I see I'm not alone in that. Kathy, our resistance to guidelines for safety and the need to get back to our lives as usual. Yes. L, each little trigger and behavior adds up to a huge barrier or blockage. Start working on each sword one by one and the lattice will fall, right? So if we can just get one sword pulled out and then the next sword and then the next sword, suddenly we're released and able to move forward. Or Emmy says, like, just climb over those swords, like just get there. This is the pagan other worlds, Lucian. Jen says, do what needs to be done, no matter how difficult, to break through the barriers and move on. Emily, I think this card could definitely be a dramatic and a kind of life is pointless way. Oh, and I could see that. I hope not, but I can see that. Corbin, oh no, I'm sorry you're having internet problems. Emily, we have to learn from it. Essence, let's see, thoughts that just cause anxiety and confusion and are leading to nowhere real fast need to be quieted. Butcher those thoughts. Look how clear the way is above the swords. Bassett says, these swords remind me of a rose climbing aid. Maybe this could remind us that whatever life throws at us, something beautiful can come out of it. You just have to use it the right way. Yes, look for those opportunities. Sean says the skull, our container of our thoughts, needs to be cleared before moving on. Oh, I love that too. Oh, this is good. This is good stuff. I hope you don't mind me just like praising you all every week, but this is really good stuff. Oh, Lucian. I tried to tell you. Oh my gosh. White Tree Tarot, hello. I know. We're just completing. We're finishing out. We had the 9 of Swords last week. We're just getting through it. We are just getting through it with this 10 of Swords. So, Elle, do you feel like we answered your question for you on what needs to be acknowledged, worked through, and released this week? How are we feeling about this? I am dying over Lucy and missing your own live. Thank you for your support. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. But it's nice to have you here. Super happy to have you here. All right. Elle says, yep, I've got some work to do this week, it seems. Shall we move on to our next card? Oh, Emily says to me, this is now the Hamlet card. If we don't get up and fight, we won't be able to carry on. Our fears will consume us. Yes. Yes. I mean, it's especially with thoughts and fears, right? They can be just our own heads. And the old saying, right? The only thing to fear is fear itself. Fear can get in the way of so many things, and it can be crippling. It can be devastating. But if we can at least, again, kind of strip that away and acknowledge the real things and put our inhibiting thoughts aside, oftentimes then we can see where that opportunity comes in. Okay. Emmy had said, those swords are thoughts, the only things hindering our growth. Oh, Lucian. Can I say bless your heart and you not be offended? Because that's really cute. Mendy says, and he realized that after he found out we were looking at a deck he just ordered but didn't recognize. Oh my goodness. All right. Ooh, okay. So this next deck that I'm bringing out, we're gonna tackle some stuff now with Robert M. Place's Alchemical Tarot. The 4th edition is the one that I have. And I should. Here is, okay. Warning. This is our 10 of Swords here in the Alchemical Tarot. All right, I'm going to pull this in so we can look at it. And then I'll pull it back out. So we have our mountain in the background. Love that we have all of these different sword hilts, which I think Shane had noticed in the 9 of Swords last week. We had a card that kind of did something like that. So that's definitely not closed. Now, this I find really interesting. Yeah, Bastet noticed that too. Like, he looks done. Like, he is really done. Yeah, I warned you, Brent. I don't think the red is fabric. Nope. White Tree Tarot, my first idea, he knew too much. Now that's really interesting, right? Is this a persecution card of some kind, right? Very interesting. The swords are all different. Yeah, that's one of the first things I noticed about this as well. Yes, see, Shane, I knew you had that thought last week. What is the book? Yeah, I don't know. I have Robert's big, thick, chunky guidebook that goes with this deck, as well as the Tarot of the Sevenfold Mystery, but I did not bring it with me. Jamie says the way he is facing up, it makes it seem like he saw it coming, right? And was it the Anna Kay or somebody else was talking about how in a different card they're facing up instead of down. Yeah, it is graphic. Wendy says the skull can mean to leave something in the past buried and allow new thoughts to come in. Was that about, is there a skull in this one, or is that from our pagan otherworlds? Okay. The notebook you are using for Tarot Playdate, will you publish it later, Alana? I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to have to really put it together. I'm very far behind, actually, on getting my notes transferred into my notebook. But, I love the idea of having a community guidebook that comes out of this. And I know a lot of people are taking notes for very much that reason. Neem says he looks real dead, splattered. Psychically yours, stabbed in the heart and it's too late. You give love a bad name. Shot through the heart. Yes, I know that one. Yes, Sandra, very graphic. Emmy says it means he's facing up, meaning he's open to the end or willing to learn the lesson and move on. Ooh, I really like that interpretation. The book gave him something to think about. Yes. Maybe it's alchemical, he can reincarnate, says Emily. Very interesting. And start again. Wait, that is the concept here, right? Let's see. We're talking about tomato ketchup. The Book of Knowledge, asks Sean, right? Maybe. He knew too much. His arms are spread out. Okay, so what do we think about this body position? What do you think that means, right? So we don't have that hand position that we have in the original. Let's see if we can get some focus again here. Come on, there you go. You know you want to. Yeah. This one's more painful when this one shows up, doesn't it? Cutting through the illusion, said Jackie. Oh, Elle's making a notes of all the things that we want to do with Playdate. We have all kinds of plans. We just have to get off our butts and actually do it. Beth, maybe he overloaded himself with so much knowledge and it was too much to take. Is that a book next to the figure? Yes, it is. Talk about being overwhelmed with thought, said Kathy. Flying like in the Titanic. Not nearly as romantic, though, is it? It's like surrender, says Emily. Kind of like a Jesus crucified shape, right? It ain't over. The book isn't closed on your life, says Robin. Maybe he welcomed the sword, said Bastet. Maybe he was like, you know what? He walked up, he was like, bring it on. Just, you know what? Just bring it on. Let's get this over with, right? Gracia says, I like that the swords are different. When you are overwhelmed, it is never just one thing, but the cumulative of little things that makes it feel like too much. Oh my gosh, I don't know that I could publish this book. I mean, really, you all wrote it, right? Shane, his face looks peaceful. So let's look at that for a second. Let's take a close-up look of his expression. I love doing that with these cards sometimes, especially like the Hanged Man. I always really like to look at how he does look peaceful. Jen says it feels like he just surrendered to the painful thoughts. He looks very serene, says Donna. So you and Shane were right on the same wavelength there. He really needs that rest, says Purple Wave. Brand says it feels like he gave up, like it was a conscious choice instead of something that happened to him in the original RWS, right? So rather than this kind of catching him by surprise, you could either say he gave up or you could say he faced it, right? It differently brings a different energy. Amy says that's what happens when you take on everyone else's shit. Don't be a martyr, right? He doesn't look like he fought the swords. Let's see. Oh, this is moving fast. He's publishing the truth and is paying the price. Ooh, if I publish the book, do I end up like that guy? Maybe we need to think about that. Julie just says this person is having a rough time, right? Neem's like, yeah, I'm not getting this deck. Kristen says, come at me, bro. Wait, not that much. Ow. Let's see. Okay. Oh, we're talking about the book that maybe probably is never going to happen, but you never know. Never say never. Robin says he might be overwhelmed by the book assigned by his book club. He just can't get through it. I've felt that before. Maybe not to this extreme, right? I figure I always have a choice to read or to not read the book. Jilly says, exam week is over. I'm done. Not me, Jen, or not the other Jen? Did I answer something that wasn't meant for me? But this is what happens when we're together. This is what homeschooling feels like this day, says Mandy. I bet. So our second question was from actually Emily. Oh, good luck with this, but you guys can do it. I have total 1000% faith in you. Emily, how can we be more present and more playful this week to enjoy what is? You were really trying hard to manifest a fun card for us, weren't you, Emily? How can we be more present and more playful this week to enjoy what is? Anybody want to accept that challenge with the 10 of Swords? Because it can answer it. Bassett says, read a good book. Leslie says, what vulnerability feels like when you are in an open book. That's actually a really good point, too. I really like that as something, as an observation for this card. Wendy, surrender something to allow some new information to come through. Emily, oh, man. Oh, Lord. Jen, release the thoughts that are holding us back, right? Recognize that we just need to get over whatever it is. We need to move on, whatever it is, so that we can be more playful. But trying to kind of force it before we've dealt with whatever it is that's been keeping us from doing that, maybe this is saying we need to confront that. If we had this card, we'd say, go around it. But this card says, you know what? You might need to face it. Emily says, I really think it's about surrender in this card. I totally see that. Kristen says, teach your dog how to play dead. That could be fun. Give him lots of good treats. Elle says, do something you enjoy doing to death. Like, oh, I just love this to death. Maybe that's what it means. Is that the right voice, Elle? Let's see. Throwing everything to the one side and free your mind. The rest will follow. Shane says, don't focus so hard on other things such as worries and fears. Enjoy the moment. Allow yourself to go and enjoy that thing. Stop letting things get in your way and just do it with a heart at the end. Yes, that was a good pep talk, Shane. Wendy says, hidden knowledge became public and he paid the price. Yeah. Play some kill 'em all PC game. Oh, yeah. Just go for your video games. Oh, geez. Go big or go home. Yes, Simon. Becca says, I hope he did get to the end of the book. How bloody annoying would that be? Only play with wooden swords, says Donna. Play fighting. My little ones wrestle a lot, says Emily. And video games. Sunbathe. Lay out in the sun. Just don't get burned, you know? Just wear your sunscreen. Be careful. Did we help at all, Emily? I know that one was a little bit more challenging, but I think, it's like, how can we be more present and more playful this week to enjoy what is, work hard to get past whatever these thoughts have been, allow them to take their course, but then allow that new beginning to happen. Patrice says, allow ourselves to be informed and knowledgeable about what's going on in the world in spite of all the painful events. Remain aware. Sometimes you just got to get over the shit. Yes, Emily. Let's see. Did I miss something that Becca? Oh, yeah, I did. It would be annoying if they didn't get to the end of the book. All right. Everything has been so structured lately and still doesn't go as planned. Sometimes you just have to simply say, F it. Yep, it helps. I know. I say shit. I don't know. I know somebody's going to give me a hard time about that. All right, let's move on to a different deck, shall we? How about let's do the Ancestral Path Tarot next. So sometimes this deck can be a little bit different and veer a little bit from the RWS. So we'll see how this plays out. But one thing that's really nice for Playdate is these cards are huge. So that can really be helpful. And the suits are changed here. So we have staves for wands. And we have cups. And then we have, oh, these are actually swords. Okay, so let's get our 10 of swords here. Okay. Oh, this one's even more interesting. Okay. Sorry. Get all my pre-ramble thoughts here. Okay, so here is the 10 of swords in the Ancestral Path Tarot. I know it's a little bit shiny. Look at that, dude. There's somebody down there with the swords. Now, this is really interesting that there's somebody here standing over these swords. I don't think that's something we really see a lot in depictions of this card, because now it feels much more less self-inflicting and more external affecting, right? See, Lucian says, oh, this is the one deck I got at the beginning as I had started practicing hoodoo, all about ancestral energy, but couldn't connect to the deck weirdly. Well, it's, and it's different cultures. So maybe it was the mix, Lucian, I wonder. Ninja nastiness, says Robin. He's got the same hand sign as the original RWS. Oh, right here, like the gloved hand. Is that the one? Oh, that light. The light helps and sometimes does not help. Are we the victim or the assassin in this card? Good question, Gracia. Yeah, it definitely is menacing. This reminds me of a true crime podcast waiting to happen, says Jilly. Yeah, definitely there's more of an attacking vibe. Like it seems like he was attacked, or a sneak attack from the ninja, right? Anything in particular you want to notice about the scenery? I mean, I think to me, the presence of this person is really the biggest difference in this card from some of the others that we've looked at. Although in Britain, that hand gesture is another way of flipping someone off. So he's like, yeah, this guy doesn't seem sorry. If he put the swords in this person, they don't seem sorry. It is very intimidating. Essence says, armor up because it's coming and you won't hear it coming. So do you need to be prepared? Jesse sees the game Fortnite. Is he on defense? Asks Purple Wave. Is this card about shadow work? Quite potentially. Jen says it could be the way we attack ourselves, right? So a lot of times we can see, even though I said maybe it's not internal and maybe it's external, but we can also be different aspects of ourselves can be represented in each of the characters that we see in this card, right? For some reason, the shape of the swords definitely make me think of murder, says Emily. Patrice, it looks relaxed, almost like he's just resting, taking a time out. Because of his posture, I'm reminded of the Four of Swords, but deadly serious, right? It almost is like he's got this kind of a little thing going on there, right? I don't know if you can see it. Or her, hard to say. Shane says, perhaps it's two sides of the same coin. You can either be consumed by those swords or thought, or you can wield them yourself. Ooh, that's interesting. This reminds me of the therapist forcing you to deal with the one thing you have avoided, said Kathy. So, right, kind of coming back to the shadow work aspect of that. Those pagodas are as spiky as the swords, like up here. Jilly could write a murder mystery based around the tarot. You know, you're probably right. She probably could. Elle said, death for honor. Was it just? Was it truly worth losing a life? Right? Oh, he has a blade in his hand? No, I don't think he does. Oh, oh, I think he's got his hand. He does have his hand. Looks like on the hilt of a sword, though, doesn't it? Let's see if I can get it. Interesting. Like he's ready to attack back. Oh, this guy here? Oh, no, no. No, the victim. Oh, okay. Okay, let's look closer at him. I can't tell. I cannot tell. But if you see it, I believe you, because just because I can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. All right, so our third question was from Jamie. What can we look to in order to find our place, especially if a little lost? What can we look to in order to find our place, especially if we're feeling a little lost? What do you think about that? Ninja. You know, I think it's maybe exploring perhaps both sides, right? Are we feeling like we're the victim of something? And that's the reason why we're having trouble finding our place. Do we feel like something's been done to us? Just thinking out loud here. More than one assassin, but this guy is just the latest, said Donna. Elle said, kill the doubts, kill the fears. Ooh, I like that. Shane says, embrace the lost, use it to find new things. Maybe give up what you wanted to cling to. Oh, that's really great, right? So a lot of times the reason that we feel lost is we feel like we have lost. So we feel lost, right? So we've lost something and we cling to that thinking that's where our happiness needs to be. But a lot of times we need to look to the future. That's really good point, Shane. Beth said, maybe we are the assassin and need to be mindful of lashing out at others in frustration. I have been guilty of that, right? Especially during this time when tensions are high, it can be really easy to just lash out at others just to make ourselves feel better, to release, right, our own swords by throwing them at somebody else, which is not always the way to do it. But it can, we can all be guilty of that. Jen says, this card reminds me of a nightmare. So is the isolation true or just in our mind because of our low self-worth? Emily, how about talk to the shadow like a friend who has helped us with something and thank it, but then release it? Ooh, that's nice. Alana says, yes, look to your inner ninja. Find your strength within. Becca says, feeling like a victim is very destructive. And I strongly agree with this. It's really hard not to go there. But when you feel like everything's kind of coming at you, it can be really easy to just get down and feel, okay, why is this happening? This feels so unfair. And, and recognizing that we have the opportunity to release some of those thoughts and pull some of those swords out and be able to pick ourselves up, I think is so important. But look for the support, if you need external support to do that, if you need somebody who can help you remove those swords, a lot of times, when we're in our darkest days, a qualified professional can be very helpful in such times, right? Robin said, don't turn your back on your enemies. Neem says, where can we find our place? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Out of sight isn't out of mind. Out of nowhere, someone will strike, but arm yourself is to not engage, but to protect. So keeping yourself armed with knowledge and awareness, not necessarily engaging. That can be helpful for some. For other people, that's really hard, but I totally get what you're saying there. Jesse, when it's all said and done, what and who remains? That's a way forward. White Tree Tarot, maybe we are attacker and victim at the same time, so we have to pull off that attacker's mask to see that we are looking in the mirror. Your friends are your armor. Yep, acupuncture overload. Is Wendy behind in the video, perhaps? I'm starting to think. So Jamie, how do you feel? Do you feel like we've answered your question? Like what can we look to in order to find our place? Has this been helpful at all if you're still there? Alana says, seeing this card now is the killing of our weaker self to release our ninja-like strength from within. Ooh, think about this, right? It's like, okay, you were this, and now rather than that ninja being the attacker, you've risen up as the ninja, and maybe he's looking down on his former body, right? His former self. So now he's this ninja. It's like, yeah, I did that, but now now I'm ready. So maybe there's that. And then I have cheerleader Jenna. Emily says, what about going within if you're afraid to go within? Going back to basics, being in nature, in silence, just to be. Jamie says, these were all very helpful. So thank you, everyone. Jilly says, I still say it looks like murder. To be fair, Jilly is a huge true crime podcast fan. So, all right. Patrice says, his restful posture tells me this too shall pass. All those terrifying thoughts won't kill you. Face them like a ninja. Yes. All right. Nice to see you, Mindy. Have a good rest. All right. We have 2 more cards to get through. Our next one, we're going to go a different direction color-wise, I think, here, is the beautiful Moonchild Tarot, at least in my opinion. I'm starting to get a collection of decks built up here. So, all right. We did have quite a wide variety of questions this week, though. Neem said, Jamie, now it's time to rely on the strength of your circle. When someone tries to inflict negative thoughts, your circle of friends will help you survive the torment. Love that. All right, here's our 10. All right. So that card the last couple cards felt really physical. I feel like this card right here brings it back to the mental and to the thoughts. So here's our 10 of Swords. Moon Baby, the perfect deck for me because it has the word moon in it, right? Moon Baby, Moonchild. Sandra said friends are very important for sure and can help. Yes, they can. Looks like a drama queen. Once again, that peaceful looking face, says Shane. Emily said, oh, the GOT throne, like the Game of Thrones. Yeah, the swords rising up in the background there. Let's see. So what do you notice first when you see this card? For me, the thing that I see first is the swords being so transparent. Definitely to me bring back that idea that these are thoughts, could be knowledge, could be, the things that are happening inside of our head, and less so things that are physically happening. Looks like the swords are bringing release, says Jackie. Stressful thoughts, says Kimberly. Jamie says, I see the desolation. So are you looking at like the desolation in the background, right? It's very dry, not particularly abundant. She literally looks like an actress performing on stage with a set behind her, says Emily. Shane says she's kneeling. She's not laid upon the ground stabbed. It feels once again like that willingness to give in. Or she's just been brought to her knees, right? I kind of think of that phrase, like I've been brought to my knees, like this is really hard. But you still see here the opportunity and the potential to get back up. Sandra says, I love the pink color of the sky with this one. I know that's not what I should be looking. You can look at whatever you want to look at, Sandra. Elle said, death of the ego, death of a glamorized ideal. Ooh, that's really interesting. I like that, Elle. Val says she doesn't look stressed, so I agree with Jackie. That there's like maybe the swords are bringing release. Yes. Aquarius Owl, she looks like the Rider-Waite-Smith 2 of Swords with 5 times as many decisions to make, right? So maybe this is just a card of overwhelm, right? Julie says that position takes a whole lot of strength to hold. Yes, it does. Especially as you get older, it's much harder to sit on your knees. The imaging is not as confronting as the traditional RWS, says Emily. That's true. She casts the shadows. Notice Bastet, right? She does. She's casting a shadow right here. The swords are just an illusion. Purple Wave is noticing like turbulence above. So there must be some kind of light, says Bastet. Lucian says, I feel because it's black and white, it's about the inner struggle of accepting parts of you that you don't want to. Oh, that's a really interesting way to look at that as well. Welcome back, Wendy. You're in real time with us now. Alana says, the swords look to be puncturing her back like needles of a porcupine, the heavy, painful burden she is enduring. Yeah, I actually really like is it, like Jilly asks, is the pink, is it sunset? Is it the day dawning? It's kind of like what we see in the original, is the sun going down or is it coming up? Emily says, I love the way this deck feels so dreamlike and like a different planet. It's like she's already gone within and she's mid-fight conquering her feels. Emmy says, realization of the self. Difficulty with integration, says Corbin. Oh, you stuck it out with your internet. Let's see, Emily in the astral. Leslie says the swords are white like light. Pain is a source of enlightenment. Yeah, Wendy says it doesn't look as painful. So it just definitely looks like she's like, okay, this is all happening. How am I going to deal with it? Jen says the pink really definitely reminds me of a sunset. Sandra also sees a sunset. So that's interesting. So what does that mean if you see this as a sunset versus a sunrise, right? Is it that final closure? It's like, okay, the sun's coming down on whatever this is, whatever this issue is, whatever these issues have been, right? So our fourth question was from Brent. Oh, you're right, Brent. It is perfect for you. Moon baby got the moon child. Now I see why you said that. So our fourth question was, how can we be more mindful in our tarot practice this week? Oh, I like this question. And I kind of have a thought. So while you guys are sharing your answers to this, tell me what you think. But to me, it's being able, I think a lot of the reason we hear people talking about being in a tarot funk right now is because of all the stress and the overwhelm that everyone is feeling right now. And maybe being mindful in our tarot practice is recognizing that that's what's impacting us and that's what's affecting us. And then choosing whether or not we still want to dive into tarot. But if we do, not letting this be an obstacle to that if that's something that you want to pursue. Or maybe for some, it might be a time to say, you know what, I am really overwhelmed and I'm not able to focus on my tarot practice. So maybe this is a time for me to rest. So it could really kind of play out either way, depending on where your headspace is at. Let's see what else other people have to say here. Emily says being open to new ways of perception. Ooh, I like that. White Tree Tarot. It somehow looks like the battle is over and now she has to find the strength to stand up again. Jamie said, don't be afraid. Take on the challenges and learn from them. Oh, yes. Jilly had said, this one really looks like she's wrestling with thoughts, like she is crying out to the goddess, like, help. Right? Kiana says, I get the sense that she is more accepting of the ending that is happening and is looking forward to the next phase. Yes, I like that too. Emily says, yes, and feeling fuzzy or distracted is normal and will also pass, right? We're not going to be in this place forever. And even if things aren't the same as they were before, we're going to find our new normal. We'll figure out a way to, once the sun sets, it does rise again, right? Yeah, I really like this one. This one really helps me kind of focus on all of that internal stuff that can be happening. She really looks like, hit me with your best shot. I will not just lay down and take it. And half burned out. Is that what you're saying, Purple Wave? This is the card is really symmetrical. It feels very balanced, doesn't it, Jilly? So how do we feel? Does that answer? How can we be more mindful in our tarot practice this week? Brent, do you have any other thoughts if you're still there? You might be done with your lunch now. Kathy says she looks like she's praying for insight. Hopefully we answered Brant's question. I don't want to keep you too much longer. We have one more card to go, and then, which will be really interesting because it's a different deck. Okay, good. We answered Brand's question, so that's great. So let's see our final deck, and then we will answer our final question. Let me get this out of the way here. Bringing it all the way home to my very first tarot deck ever. Emily said, take your time and don't push yourself. Emmy says, the last question is where I'm at, so all insights here are good. Oh, that's good, Emmy. All right. Osho Zen also tends to sometimes deviate a little bit from the RWS with its own keywords and things. Let's see what it has to say. It's not really sugarcoaty, so. All right. Actually, you guys might like this one a lot. Here is our 10 of thoughts, clouds, swords in the Osho Zen Tarot. Let's end on a positive note, shall we? With rebirth. So what do you think about this one? Isn't that beautiful? That is a beautiful card, at least in my opinion. Love the lion, says Sandra. Shape-shifting, says Emily, right? So this person is both, the human and the lion. Jessie says an aspect of herself. But it's like, this lion is kind of roaring, and then here she is coming out all peacefully playing the flute, right? And then we have the camel down here, which kind of also looks like a mountain, right? It almost looks like he's climbing this mountain. We have the clouds down here, but we're moving up into this sunlight. Spirit of the lion, strength on hump day, says Robin. It's obviously reminiscent of strength, said Emily. Transitional change, says Wendy. Dance with that fear, says Emmy. Oh, I like that phrase. That's a good way to look at it. Kiana, damn, I need this deck. Calming the lion within, says Sean. Yes. Bastet, let your inner child feel your strength and durability of your spirit animals. Emily says, I'm not sure about the camel. Jen says, going from the calm camel to become the strong lion. Oh, that's interesting. So maybe, peacefully moving along, sometimes things are still going to happen where you have to step up and show your strength. Shane says, I get the circle of life vibe. The speech Mufasa gives to Simba about how they eat the antelope eats the grass, and when they die, they become the grass, right? So there's always that rebirth, even in the death. Donna, release the beast with sharp teeth so you can be at peace. Camel Mountain. Balance our strength and vulnerability. Oh, I love that, Beth. Kristen says, the lion doesn't look happy to have a flutist coming out of its side. Maybe he's singing along with his wide mouth. You never know. Manifestation of strength and endurance, is Kathy. Jackie, from desolation to strength. Emily says it's a bit like a symbiosis and balance between these aspects. I'm really tempted to put, whoa, oh, there, sorry, Eddie. Just threw a box. Oh, sorry, Eddie. Just threw 2 boxes at my dog. So if we look in here at our clouds suit here, let's see what the book has to say. We haven't really done that today. In Zen, you are coming from nowhere and you are going to nowhere. You are just now here, neither coming nor going. Everything passes by you. Your consciousness reflects it, but does not get identified. When a lion roars in front of a mirror, do you think the mirror roars? Or when the lion is gone and a child comes dancing, the mirror completely forgets about the lion and starts dancing with the child? Do you think the mirror dances with the child? The mirror does nothing, it simply reflects. Your consciousness is only a mirror. Neither do you come, nor do you go. Things come and go. You become young, you become old, you are alive, you are dead. All these states are simply reflections in an eternal pool of consciousness. So that's kind of like, I don't know, this book has sort of 2 ways of dealing with each of these cards. Yep, Dropsy Simon. Oh my gosh, channel that fear through creative outlets, said Emmy. Alana, I think this card complements the Ninja card, finding and acknowledging our strength within and releasing it and letting it shine. Bye, Wendy. Thank you for being here. So it's all about consciousness, says Emily. Yes. Did I miss any other? White Tree Tarot said all your previous stages feelings were necessary so you can get to your better self now. Jenna noticed that the camel also about saying you have the resources you need within, right? Because they carry around enough water to last for a long time. All right, so our final question, that explanation from the book sort of sounds like whatever, nothing matters. Does it? Jilly says it's all interconnected. Here's more what it says. So it says, this card depicts the evolution of consciousness as it is described by Friedrich, I can't pronounce that, Nietzsche, in his book, Thus Spake Zarathustra. Okay, sorry, don't know how to pronounce any of those words. He speaks of the 3 levels of camel, lion, and child. The camel is sleepy, dull, self-satisfied. He lives in delusion, thinking he's a mountain peak, but really he is so concerned with others' opinions that he hardly has any energy of his own. And emerging from the camel is the lion. When we release what we've been missing, life, when we realize, oh my gosh, when we realize we've been missing life, we start saying no to the demands of others. We move out of the crowd, alone and proud, roaring our truth. But this is not the end. Finally, the child energizes, neither acquiescent nor rebellion, but innocent and spontaneous and true to his own being. Whatever the space you're in right now, sleepy and depressed, or roaring and rebellious, be aware that it will evolve into something new if you allow it. It is a time for growth and change. All right. Sorry, I know you're all talking about my Butterfingers, but I think that is a beautiful way to describe this card. So let's take this one and answer our last question from Purple Wave. How can we best process what's happening at the moment? How can we best process what's happening at the moment. So if I were to take what the book just said about this card and the rebirth, it's that everything is going to change. It's going to evolve, right? So whatever is happening, yes, we want to be mindful of that. We want to not get consumed by it. And while it feels like an ending, it's not the end, if that makes sense. Purple Wave, oh, Jesse says, try to establish a new normal. Yes, exactly. Let's see. Robin says, oh, the pain. The Ten of Swords is telling me that I need to take a nap. I mean, choose your perspective, says Sean. Like, who do you want to be in this? If you have an opportunity to make that choice, do that, but also recognize maybe you aren't going to be able to live in that space forever. Any other thoughts on that, on how we can best process what's happening at the moment and our Ten of Swords in general? Emily says, be comfortable with change and choose how you see reality. Change is very scary for people. And a lot of times, I think just the concept of change in general often feels like endings to some people. Some people really hold on to and are most comfortable with things as they are. And then other people tend to embrace change and look for those opportunities for things to be different, right? So the same thing might be happening to these two different people, but they're being perceived in very different ways. It's definitely scary. Yes. Jen says the way you choose to think about things makes all the difference, right? We can't always choose what happens to us, but we can choose how we react to it. Those concepts that I know a lot of us believe in. Jamie says the color focus seems to be on the lion and the flute player, but don't forget about the camel, the support in your life from those you might not always think of or remember. Oh, that's really good, Jamie. I like that. Purple Wave says, overcome fears the best you can with music. Dance it out like in Grey's Anatomy, right? Alana says, as the camel that holds things in, releasing all that doesn't serve you, finding your inner strength to move forward to a brand new beginning. Yes. Focus on the changes that have been positive rather than the negative ones, says Donna. And foot that flute. All right. So let's talk about, this has been great. Let's talk about turning this card upside down, right? So if this Ten of Swords is in a reversed position, or if you don't read reversals, in a challenged or blocking position, what do you think this means, right? So somebody earlier said, I just see the swords sliding right out of there, right? Sometimes too, I think it might be that we're resistant to letting things end, and maybe we're not allowing things to be reborn, right? Maybe we're sitting here kind of stuck in this place and not recognizing the opportunity for the rebirth, as we kind of saw here in this card. Neem says, falling on your own swords. Jamie says, who are they going to slip out and fall onto next, right? Right. So are we just avoiding something that's just going to hit the person behind us, if you duck, right? Beth says, yes, change will happen whether we like it or not. Might as well accept it. We all see the swords falling out when we turn this up time. Jen's saying, he could fall further onto those swords, right? So is he going to, are the swords going to fall out, or is this person going to slide down onto those swords? We kind of saw that something really similar when we had the Three of Swords, right? Kiana, reversals holds the meaning of the upright card, but indicates there may be more repercussions, not letting go of a situation, feeling helplessness, or helpless, holding on to the pain, fear of ruin. Emily says, yep, swords could slide away unless there's that resistance, and the sky can fade away. Robin says, ask yourself, what's your sticking point? Like, what are you hung up on? Essence says, I don't see them falling out in reverse. I definitely see pushing the issues deeper. Kiana brings more reversals for us. Relief from suffering, a need to make real changes, relief from physical pain, holding back and not taking the necessary steps to move into a new cycle. Improvements won't last, so act fast. Julie says, see, now if we're on that oh, poor, pitiful me thing, the reversal would be letting go, right? Stop feeling sorry for yourself. I like that. Become the hangman, says Jesse. See the issue in a new way. Donna, looks like he's falling into a black void. Jackie, stop playing the victim, right? It's all done. Time to dance, says Kathy. I don't even know how to pronounce that right, Robin. So I know this might sound scary, but I'm going to say, do we have, in fact, it's really funny. I remember last week when I was reading the activity that we have for the Nine of Swords, I accidentally started to read the activity for the Ten of Swords. It's like we knew. So let me tell you the activity that we have by Purple Wave that we have for this week's Ten of Swords. We also still have the Playbook activity. So while I'm pulling that up, if you like to look at this book and figure out different ways you want to bond with your deck, this will kind of associate an activity with each card. This one's called Dancing with the Devil on page 130. And so we were talking about dancing it out, and this one's called Dancing with the Devil. Here it looks like you actually work with your major arcana cards and some music. So that could be kind of entertaining and interesting. Okay, I can't see the chat while I'm looking this up. So if you have any questions for me, give me 1 second, and then I'll be right back after I read our activity. I will put the activity, as I always do, in the description box below this video when it uploads, as well as in the Tarot Playdate Facebook group. Bye, anybody who's leaving, but I hope you'll all stick it out to at least hear what the activity is. I love it when people actually get a chance to try it and put their activity in the Playdate Facebook group. Oh, I didn't color code our activity from last week. Huh. Okay, so Ten of Swords, nowhere to go but up. Something has knocked you down, but it's time to get back up. Ask the tarot to give you its best motivational speech so you can get back up. Pull 3 cards. What motivational words does each of these cards have for you? So we are looking at the bright side of the Ten of Swords with our activity this week. This is one actually designed by Elle. Thank you, Elle, for your help with that. And then if you have other Tens of Swords that you see that bring different meanings, or you just want to show us, please feel free to post those in the Tarot Playdate Facebook group that I think, if I look right over here, I'll just post a link to. If you don't like to be on Facebook, but you're on Instagram and want to use the hashtag Tarot Playdate, that's great as well to see the different cards that you have. Or, just shoot me a message or put a comment in the video or, whatever. I'll be really interested to hear how you guys are able to embrace this week, and maybe what we learn over the week with the Ten of Swords. I guess I'm going to be looking at this. I hang these cards in my room every week. I have a little picture frame thing that I hang these on. So I'll be staring at this Ten of Swords all week long. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Once again, thank you all for being here with me, for tackling this very challenging card with me and contributing all of your thoughts. You are amusing as always. It can't be light and fluffy every week, but I think we saw a lot in this card that we can all take away from this. So I hope you all have an amazing, wonderful rest of your day and week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Who knows what card we will get then? All right, you guys, have a wonderful day. Bye. I love you all right back. I couldn't hit end until I said that. All right, now I'm saying goodbye for real.